Okay guys, I'm back and it's much later in the day. Now I'm working on the jelly and I've actually completed 2 batches of jelly, which is back there on that counter right there. Those are done. So I have 1 more batch to go. So I'm just going to walk you guys through step by step how to do it. So like I said, the instructions are on your packet of jellies. I do actually modify a little bit from the instructions that they give, and whenever I get to that point I will let you know which part I modify. Okay, so I'm just gonna take you guys through it step by step. So right now the only thing that's in there, which you can't see because it's so dark, and it turns out really purple by the way, is the juice. So once again we're looking at this. It says 4 cups of juice and 1 pack of jellies, 6.5 cups of sugar. So this is 4 cups of muscadine juice that we've put in here. Now what you'll do is take your little jellies pack and you're gonna like gently sprinkle it. So get it in there. Patience is running thin since I got stung on my elbow and it's kind of hurting. So you get the jellies in there and then you're gonna like stir it up. Now when you come to this making jelly, you're gonna stir it quite frequently. So at this point you're stirring, trying to get the jellies mixed in really well with the juice, okay? And you can tell that I've already made like 2 batches. So anytime I'm doing the same type of jelly, I just leave the little remnants on the side. I actually did get a little bit more liquid on the last batch, but I just used it to top up some of the other jars, some of the jars from that batch, because I had poured it whenever it still had bubbles in it. And so some of them were not completely full after the bubbles popped. So I'm going to stop stirring for a little while because it's hurting my arm. So what you're looking for on this is for it to start boiling. So there'll be like bubbles just all over the entire surface of the juice. Couldn't think of what to call it. So that's what we're waiting for. While this is getting ready, you want to get a pot with some water and your lids, which is the little flat part. Ignore that one. The lids, which is the little flat part that comes with your canning lids. Remember, these have to be brand new, never sealed before, or else they will not seal. So you're going to put them in here and get them in this water and get this water boiling. Usually once it's boiling, I turn it down so you can see that this is on low. So I turn it down to low just to keep it hot, and basically what this does is it just sanitizes these lids. So if there's any kind of like mold spores or bacteria or anything like that that's gotten on it from you taking it out of the pack and having it in your house, then this is going to kill that and sanitize it so that you don't have a mold growth inside of your jelly or preserves or whatever. So it'll just start making like a whole lot of this like kind of like frothy looking stuff, and then it'll start boiling. I have all my jars ready. These have all been sanitized, so I have all my jars ready to go. I put them fairly close to the edge of the counter, because I have these counters right here, cabinets. I couldn't remember what they were called, And so obviously, like, whenever I'm like tipping the pot, if I have them like under here, then it's gonna hit this, and then I'm not gonna be able to effectively pour into the jars. And I got the little canning funnel out because sometimes when you're pouring, certain jellies seem to like splash more, and so you need the funnel. Whenever I poured this one, with me being by myself, I didn't even get any on the funnel, I don't think. Yeah, I haven't washed this. And I didn't even get any on the inside of the funnel. That's where it touched the jar. So I basically was just like, forget it. I don't need the funnel. And it was easier because if not, I have to like put the funnel on this jar, pour this jar, set the pot down, move the funnel, pick the pot up, pour, and then repeat. So that just takes like way too long. If you can pour straight, just do it this way. But if you're just starting out, then don't. Okay. This is boiling while I was rambling. So we're at 7 minutes and 17 seconds. So you can see, hopefully, if it would stop fogging up the camera. So you see how there's just like bubbles all over the top of it, and it's making all this steam. So now it's time for your sugar. So as I was saying before I just started rambling, I get everything ready so that once it starts boiling, I can immediately add the sugar. So this is the 6.5 cups of sugar. Now, normally I wouldn't pour it all in one big pile like that. I would kind of mix it as I'm pouring, but I'm one-handed, so gotta do what I gotta do. Okay. So yeah, everything has to be ready. Like, you can't not have a pot or a bowl or something that you're putting the sugar in and then like, oh, it's boiling, so let me add 6.5 cups of sugar. Number one, you're going to be nervous at that point, so you're probably going to miscount, and then you're going to have too much or too little sugar. But also because all of the sugar and juice mixture needs to reach the same temperature. So if you put 1 cup of sugar in there and then it's getting really, really hot, that sugar might reach the 240-degree temperature that is needed to make jelly. But then the last cup to cup and a half may not actually reach that temperature. So you want to just make sure that all the sugar goes in at about the same time. And it's just going to be more accurate and less stressful on you. So now we're at 10.5 minutes. So we're actually a little bit over what I originally thought. So I don't too much worry about like juice being all over the cabinets, the countertops and things while I'm doing this, because it's just going to get messy again, so there's really no point. As long as you clean up beforehand and you don't have just like grease and all these other things getting into your jelly, you're good. That part that's on the side is just jelly. So if you scrape it down in here, it will melt back down and then it will just be added. So you can see now it goes really, really quickly. So I'm sure you guys were watching that while I was scraping the sides of the pot. It goes from just being like liquid jelly to like, oh my god, there's like these humongous bubbles everywhere. Okay, so at this point, this is what's considered the boil that cannot be stirred down. This is where I vary from the directions. So the directions say to do 2 minutes. I actually do 3. Now I have found on some fruits and different things, like especially unique things like peppers that you can make pepper jelly with, or just fruits that don't have a lot of pectin in them. The extra minute makes sure that everything reaches the correct temperature. So the packet says 2 minutes, but I always do 3, and it doesn't hurt anything if, you know, you cooked it a minute too long. It's not really going to make that big of a difference. Like, I've never had jelly turn out like a rock, and I was having to use 2 packs of pectin whenever I would make pepper jelly, which, as I mentioned earlier, that was increasing my cost by $1 per batch. So if I was only getting 4 jars to a batch, which I'm not, I was getting more than that, but let's just say I was getting 4 jars, and then I added $1 of cost to that, so that's 25 cents more for each jar. So that adds up pretty quickly. Then what you're going to do is, like I mentioned before, you're going to pour it into the jars, and you're going to pour it up to like that first little lip. That's what I do because I sell it, so obviously I don't want to cheat anybody. So my timer's going off, and I'm actually going to need both hands for this, so I'm going to stop the video, and then I will get back after I pour them. Okay, so the jelly's all poured. So now, if it'll focus. So now what I'll do, just try not to put that in there, is that I'm going to just go around the edges of each jar. Make sure that there's no jelly on the edges. So see, like right there, there's jelly on the edges. So I want to make sure that I get that off, because if you leave it on there like that, it can prevent the little compound stuff on the lid from being able to seal. So let me do the rest of that and then I'll come back. Okay guys, I'm back. So quick review here. I've got 2 minutes, so I'm timed here. This is how much juice that I've got left. Probably like a gallon of juice. And I made 3 batches. That's honey. So this is what we got. 5, 6, 7 pints. And 5, 6, 7 half pints. Like I showed, it was about 17 minutes that it takes to make a batch. So that's not that much time because this was 3 batches. So that's like less than an hour there that it took to make this, and that's $75 worth of product. Of course, you have your input costs, but it's actually very profitable. So I've got 15 seconds left, so thank you guys for watching. I will get this all edited up. I'll probably fast forward it, but just know it takes about 17 minutes a batch, and this is what you get. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below and ask me. I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Bye!